Hello peeps, welcome back. Thanks for joining me again. You've caught me here right in the middle of doing some work. Yep, I'm back on the hybrid TARDIS, and this is the base. I've done a bit of a cold mix on this one, and what I mean by cold mix is I put not enough catalyst in there just to give me a bit more working time. However, as a result of this means that it's taking an absolute age to cure. I mean, it's kind of touch dry as it is, but it's 2 hours it's been on there and it's still not quite dry, so that's me finished for the day, unfortunately. But as you know, I'm working on this, and this is that hybrid TARDIS I was telling you about last time. If you've been following me on Facebook, there's a little album there for you to have a look at. But the idea with this thing is the owner, who I'm partly doing this video for as well, he wants elements from the 80s on this box. He wants certain things, there's certain things he does like and certain things he doesn't like, so what we're doing is we're giving all the attributes he likes onto this one box. And as a little example, these sign boxes here, he didn't want them up in their usual position and he didn't want them at their usual thickness. He wanted them slightly deeper set and lower down. So in this regard, if we can get the thing to focus, it's going to cover those 3 steps. So you can probably guess this is sort of a bit like a Newbury prop. In fact, it's a bit like the one in Black Orchid. Somewhat 80s, somewhat 70s. So yeah, there's where we are with that one. I've blended in the battery box and the speaker grill. I didn't want that. And if I sound distracted, it's because my cat's here. Go away, you're not allowed in here. So where were we? Oh yes. Speaker grills and what have you, that's all filled in. Battery box is gone. And currently I'm waiting for parts to turn up, some electrical bits. And as I said before, it's coming from China. So yeah, it's still not here. So it's kind of holding me up because I really need to get on and paint the inside of this, but I can't paint the inside of this until all the electronics are kind of put in. Whoops, did I go off frame there? I think I did. What was I saying? Oh yeah, I need to paint this all black inside. Need to put a curtain inside there, and there's the template for it right there. It is going to be lit, so I've got some little 5mm holes in here and little LED is going to go in there. If you've seen some of my other models, you'll know that I always put the electronics in the roof and I have the lid sitting on there and you can open it up and access it and then put it back again. Not so on this. The reason being is when I put this lid on, now here's me trying to do it one-handed. Whoops. So there we go. Put the lid on. Oh, bugger. I'll tell you what, I'll do this in a minute. So I successfully put the lid on, and now I can explain to you why I can't go through there. It's this gap here. The unfortunate situation is that to pull this nice and closed, I have to screw it in from underneath here. So that immediately says to me that we can no longer use this roof as access to the on-off switch and the battery. Why is that? Well, to get to those screws, you've got to take the base off. And that is just a pain in the bum, because who in their right mind is going to unscrew a base, then unscrew those screws just to get the thing off here, just so you get access to the on-off switch? That's ridiculous, so that's out of the question. Instead, what's going to happen here is all the electronics will be based in here. However, the little umbilical cord will come out from here, it'll go down the back here, down through here, and into this base. So there's the on-off, well, the on-off switch will be there. So the on-off switch will be on this side, and then the battery will be here. And yes, okay, I'm going to put the original base back on, so you can switch it on from the outside without having to undo it. But if you want to get to the batteries, you do unscrew that plate and then change the batteries out. That is no different, really, from the original idea of unscrewing this back plate here. So I'm good with that. So that's where I am with this. What else have I been doing? Oh yeah, just a little idea or a show of the sign boxes. He wanted them thicker, as I mentioned previously, so that's what's happening there. So they are a bit more pronounced now. The other thing is this pull to open sign. I've rebuilt it. I don't like this one. On the actual toys, one moment. I'm going to get one now. Back again. So on the toys, if you look at this pull to open panel, you can see it's set really far back, and that's just one of the things that does bug me about these toys, and it shouldn't be like this. This should almost be flush with this surface here. So the idea of that thing there, it's no. Instead, what I'm doing, or what I've done, is this. I don't know if you can see that. I've rebuilt it. I've added some hinges in there and made a little handle, a handle that you could technically grab hold of if you wanted to. And I've done the same with this thing. There's the handle, and if you look at it, you can see through it. So it's a proper little handle. And I think that actually looks a lot nicer. So that's where I am with this. I'm just now waiting for things to arrive, this to cure, and then I can get on with sticking things like this onto this. I mean, these are currently just held on with a piece of sticky tack, just for me to look at, see how good it is. And yeah, so that's where I am with that so far. So I just need a few things to arrive, and then I can get on with assembling this, gluing it all together, and then painting it. You know, once I've got to that stage, it will be done very quickly. Well, in other news, I bought some merchandise, some Doctor Who merchandise, in particular Tom Baker's book, Scratchman. This is the first piece of Doctor Who merchandise that I've bought, personally, in probably 10 years. I'm not really into buying Doctor Who stuff anymore, and I certainly don't buy novels. Not just Doctor Who novels, but any novels. I don't know what it is, but every time I read a novel, all I sit there doing as I'm going through it is mentally editing it and thinking, yeah, I would have written this differently, or had that person saying that line slightly differently, or this is a bit clunky. So I find it very difficult reading novels. In fact, the last novel that I read was probably Dan Brown's The Da Vinci Code many years ago. And I read that in one sitting over New Year's Eve. This, by Tom Baker, and I think, what else did he? James Goss, I think, helped him out on it a bit. Also, wasn't it? Oh yeah, it was Ian Marter. He wrote this, I think, in his first season as an idea for a script for a film. I sort of know a little bit about it. The one thing I am hoping about this is that the ending is different from the synopsis that I read years ago, where it was set on a pinball machine, and that was just crap. But what do I think of this book? It's not too bad. It's got that very Tom Bakery classic vibe. One of the things that it did take me a while to get used to is that Tom has written this in the first person, as if it's the Doctor actually telling you, the reader, this story. I'm not overly keen on that, because as a convention, you can only write what the individual has seen, so any cutaways always causes problems, because how do you know what happened in a place or a location where you weren't present? What Tom does do is he tends to say, oh yes, Sarah Jane later told me that this happened, or Harry Sullivan told me that happened in the barn. And after a while that gets a bit samey. I don't like it, but you know, overall I can put that to bed. I can sort of get past that. I'm only up to page 69. I've only sat down twice and tried to read this in the evening after I've been working on that model. And tell you what though, by page 68 there are quite a few typos in this and spelling mistakes, which makes you wonder what their proofreader was doing, because clearly not their job. Maybe they got so wrapped up in Tom's storytelling, which is quite amusing in places. So be interesting to see if I manage to finish this. Usually novels get right on my goat and I end up just going, sod it, and throwing it away. But yeah, Doctor Who Scratchman by Tom Baker and a couple of other people, complete with shit logo. Yeah, that bit spoils it, but never mind, you can always do... hang on. Whee! That, which is how I read all my books anyway. Never with the dust covers on, because they just get in the bloody way. Right, other things. Look, we've made another jump since last week. I think I've got about 15 more. So 992, and that's obviously 8 away from 1,000. Now, I have to admit, the reason why I'm getting excited by the 1,000 is not because I can monetize it, it's just that I can say, I've got 1,000 subscribers. because I'm really excited about all that, really. It's one of those little milestones. So, according to this, it's going to take me 5 years to get to, I think, 10,000, or was that? I don't know, actually, let's have a quick look. Right, future projections, let's have a look. Oh, blast. Unscheduled maintenance or a temporary database outage. Bugger. Alright, never mind. Well, after that total anticlimax of Social Blade being down, I think I'm going to call this quits and end the video right here. So before I go, thank you very much for watching, and if you could do me a favour and like, comment and subscribe, that would be fantastic. And also don't forget to hit that notification bell. So for now, I'm going to bid you farewell from this very noisy garden of mine, and I think I might as well go and do some work. What should I do? I know, sweep the garden. Just save myself the bother.